this morning, please? Do you swear or affirm the testimony which you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sir, good morning. You could be seated. May inquire, Mr. Cacciatore.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you tell us how it is that you know Jorge Torres?
He's my older brother.
And how many siblings do you have?
Six or seven.
And how long has your family resided here in the Central Florida area?
20 plus years.
And before residing in the Central Florida area, were you guys in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
Yes, sir. In Massachusetts.
Your brother, how often, your brother George, that is, how often would you talk with him?
Often we talk, I would say, on a weekly basis.
And how far away did you live from George?
About 5-10 minutes. Pretty close.
Would you see him pretty often?
I would try not to go over there too much.
Who was George living with at the time that he passed away?
Wait, Sarah?
And without getting into many details, what was your relationship like with Sarah?
We didn't really have a relationship.
Would it be fair to say you didn't get along with her?
Yes.
Back on February 23rd, 2020, did you have an occasion to talk to your brother on that day?
Yes, sir.
And when you spoke with your brother on that day, did you FaceTime with him or did you speak with him over the phone?
We talked on the phone.
Was that phone to your ear or was that phone?
It was on speaker.
And who was present?
My wife and my 2 kids.
And without telling us anything that George may have said to you, can you tell us what the topic of that conversation was?
We were just talking like we normally did. He just calling me to check on me, basically.
Now, in the background of that conversation on the evening of February 23rd, 2020, what did you hear?
Sarah's in the background yelling.
And you recognized her voice?
Yes, sir.
What was she yelling about?
Something about choking or how he choked her. I really don't. That was it.
About how long was this conversation that you had?
Maybe 10 minutes, I think it was.
How did the conversation end?
Because she was yelling in the background, so that was it. We just talked.
Did she sound upset?
She sounded upset.
Did you talk to your brother after that conversation?
No, that was the last conversation I had.
Have you ever spoken to Sarah since that conversation?
No.
I have no further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
In the beginning, when you started, it was hard for me to hear, but I know you were talking about other siblings, other family members that you had here. Could you repeat that for me, please?
Here in Orlando, I have 1 sister and 3 brothers.
Sister and 3 brothers?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did your brother Jorge Torres, did he ever stay with you at any time?
No.
Would he ever live with you or not you, but any of your other siblings?
No.
All right, sir, let's go back to this phone call that you were talking about that was on February 23rd of 2020, and that phone call was approximately 7:30. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And who called to?
He called me.
And then y'all were talking, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And when he called you, did you notice anything about his speech or his voice?
No, he was fine.
Sounded normal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he wasn't slurring his words or anything like that?
No.
By the way he talked or what he talked to you about, could you tell at that time if he had been consuming alcohol?
No. Because I knew when he would drink.
Okay. So in your opinion at that time, based on what you heard and what he was talking about, you do not believe he had been drinking alcohol?
No.
Now, you said you heard Sarah.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? How did you know it was Sarah?
I can tell her voice.
You recognized her voice. So you could hear her. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you've heard Sarah speak before that time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've heard her speak on the phone before that time. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that Sarah was yelling. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
And she was yelling about, he's choking me. Or tell him about choking me.
Yes.
Okay. During that conversation, and you heard her say that, did you ask your brother, what is she talking about?
No, I did not.
Did that statement at that time, did that statement surprise you?
Not really.
You've heard it before?
No.
Based on Sarah's voice that you've heard, was it any indication to you that she had been drinking?
No.
No? Sir, at some point your brother said he had to go, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did he hang up on the conversation?
Yes.
And did he say bye and you say bye?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I don't have, if I can confirm.
You may, sir.
Sir, other than siblings, your mother and father, do they live in this area?
Yes.
Were there times that George would stay with them?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Any redirect examination?
No, Your Honor.
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Actually, we'll keep them subject to recall, Your Honor.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
All right, sir. You're released subject to recall by either party. Thank you.
State would call Devin Jamro.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. Please do swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Sir, good morning. You can take a seat. Thank you. You may inquire, sir.
Sir, who do you work for?
I work for Public Supermarkets.
And what is your position with public supermarkets?
I am the assistant store manager.
And at what location?
Currently the Castleberry location.
Were you at the location on Goldenrod and University Boulevard back in February of 2020?
Yes, I was.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness which has been previously marked for identification as States D and been shown to defense?
D's and Delta?
D as in Delta.
Yes, you may.
Sir, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as states D. Could you use these scissors and open this and look at the contents of this package to yourself?
Sure.
Sir, do you recognize those items?
I do, yes.
And tell us, what are these items?
These are Publix receipts.
Are these receipts evidence of transactions at Publix? Are they made at or near the time of each transaction?
They are absolutely made at the time of the transaction.
And is it in the normal course of business that Publix keeps these receipts?
Yes.
And these fairly and accurately appear to be the receipts from your Publix store?
Yep. Yeah.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states D into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection?
What was pre-marked as states D will be received into evidence without objection as states 1.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as states J and shown to defense?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as states J. Can you take a look at that disc?
Yes.
Do you see your initials on that disc?
I do.
Did you have an opportunity to look at that disc prior to coming to court this morning?
I did, yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
This is CCTV footage burned from the camera system at the location.
And at Publix, is it the regular practice of Publix to utilize surveillance cameras?
Yes.
And in the normal course of business, are the videos from those surveillance cameras kept?
Yes.
And are these the cameras taken from February 23rd, 2020? And I believe there's 2 video clips included, one at 12:17 p.m. and another at approximately 5:39 p.m.
Yes.
And they fairly and accurately represent the surveillance video that was submitted from Publix to law enforcement in this case.
They do, yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states J into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as states J will be received into evidence without objection as states 2.
And I have no further questions for this witness.
Any cross-examination? Can this witness be released?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You're released.
Thank you.
Have a great day. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Joan Williams.
Right now, I can't hear you, please. Please swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Counselor, you may inquire.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Can you tell us what it is that you do for a living?
I'm a 911 call taker at the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you held that position?
24 years.
And tell us, what are your duties as a 911 call taker?
I answer phones for emergency, non-emergency, medical, which I transfer to the medical side of the business.
And is it the regular practice of Orange County to record 911 calls?
All lines are recorded.
And is it the regular practice of Orange County to keep records of each of those 911 calls?
Yes.
And those records are made at or near the time of each call, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness which has been previously marked for identification as states L and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been previously marked for identification as states L. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes. My initials.
Did you have an opportunity to review this disc prior to coming to court this morning?
Yes.
And those are your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does this disc, does it fairly and accurately represent the 911 call that you took in this case on February 24th, 2020 at 12:59 hours?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states L into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
It was pre-marked as states L will be received with no objection as states 3.
And Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Any cross-examination?
No, sir.
Right. Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Vincent Battaglia.
Raise your right hand to be sworn. Please be swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Sir, you may be seated. Sir, you may inquire.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can you tell us what it is you do for a living?
Right now I work for an auto parts company,
And where do you live?
New Jersey.
Back on February of 2020, where were you living at that time?
I was living at the Tealwood Apartments in Winter Park, Florida.
And what were you doing at that time when you were living at Tealwood?
I was enrolled in Full Sail University. I was in school.
When you were living at Tealwood, did you have any roommates?
Yeah, I had one roommate, Brandon. Yeah, that was it. Him.
That's Brandon Motes?
Yes.
Did you have neighbors?
Yeah.
Were you neighbors with Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres?
Yes.
And approximately how long were you neighbors with them?
About a year, a little over a year. I moved there in January 2019.
And during the course of that year that you were neighbors with them, did you have occasion to interact with them at times?
Yeah.
In fact, did you ever go over to their home?
Yeah, like a couple times, yeah.
And I believe you tuned a guitar for the child there at the house?
Yeah.
This Tealwood apartment complex, how would you describe the walls that separated your units?
Thin, like very thin walls.
And with those walls being so thin, would you ever have occasion to hear arguing and yelling coming from Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres' apartment?
Yeah.
How often would you hear this?
Almost daily.
Did Sarah Boone ever approach you about the things that you heard coming from their apartment?
Yes.
And where were you when she approached you?
I was smoking a cigarette on my back patio.
And approximately what time?
It was
Was this?
pretty late. I can't remember the exact time, but it was definitely anywhere between like midnight to 2 a.m., like right around there.
And do you remember how much before the date when the police called that this occurred?
A few months, probably 4 to 5 months before that.
So 4 or 5 months before February of
Of
2020.
Yeah.
And when she approached you on this late evening / early morning on that day, what did she tell you?
Pretty much just kind of like, if I do hear anything, like through the walls or whatever, just out back, just kind of keep my mouth shut, like don't really speak about it or anything like that or say anything to anyone. And I just was like, okay.
Did she make any motions with her hands?
Yeah, like just kind of like, finger over the lips, like kind of shh, like keep it hush, like that kind of thing.
So she told you not to report anything you may have heard about arguments or yelling or fighting, anything going on over there.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you recall the evening of February 23rd, 2020?
I do, yeah.
And what about that evening sticks out to you?
That sticks out to me from that night was literally just there was a very, very loud noise that I heard that was loud and powerful enough to shake my bedroom wall. And I remember that because I was sitting on my bed on FaceTime with my girlfriend at the time, and I literally felt the wall shake and it stopped me mid-conversation. And she even asked me through the computer, like, what was that? And I was like, I have no idea.
Did you hear any yelling coming from their apartment on that night?
Before that, yeah, like it was just arguing kind of stuff.
What was the last thing you heard?
The last thing I heard was like the loud noise and just a little bit of shuffling, and that was kind of it. It just kind of went silent after that.
Did you hear anything that was being said?
Not clearly, and it was never really anything clear. It was just like you could hear arguing back and forth, just kind of like and kind of like an I hate you, like it's whatever it is, whatever the argument was about kind of thing. At the time, that's really all it was, but it was never really clear enough to hear like the full argument. And honestly, I never really paid attention too much to it. If I heard it, I kind of stepped into my living room to be further away from it. So.
Did you hear both the defendant's voice and also George Torres' voice?
Yeah, all the time. It was like a back and forth. Yeah.
So other than the statements and the phrases of I hate you, you weren't able to discern the contents of this argument?
No.
What was the last sound you heard?
The last sound that I heard was like the loud banging noise that it was like a very odd sounding noise that I've never heard before this day, but it very much sounded like it was like where my bed was positioned. It was kind of towards the back of the apartment, and it almost sounded like it was coming towards me, but like on the side of me, you know. Then it was just like a loud rumbling noise, like that literally sounded like it was kind of far away from me, and then it like ended up like almost next to me. And like I said, the walls are thin, so like it's very easy to hear like through the walls, and not even just sideways. Like I hear my upstairs neighbor, like all around, very thin walls.
Now, was your bedroom, where was it located in your apartment?
The back of the apartment, so it was like there's like a little kick out next to my patio, and that's like that was my bedroom back there, like along the grass back there.
On the first floor?
On the first floor, yeah.
I have no further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Mr. Tagley, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, you said that you lived there next to Sarah Boone and George Torres for about a year.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that the police were called to their residence
Like,
while you were there for the year? Are you aware of any incident in which the police were called to their residence?
I had never seen anybody there, but I had other neighbors in the complex tell me that it has been on multiple occasions. So that's why.
Just instead of what somebody else told you.
Yeah.
Just what you would observe. Did you ever, the year that you were there living next to them?
Yeah.
Were you ever aware that the police were called to their residence?
No, the times that I was home, I never saw any police at the apartment there.
And did you work odd hours or you went?
Yeah, and with my schooling and stuff too, I used to have class at like 1 o'clock in the morning. So all the time I was at random moments, like just not home throughout the day and night and stuff like that. So yeah.
Do you have an opinion as to whether or not, based on your interaction with Sarah Boone,
I'm going to object.
Let me finish the question first, please.
do you know from your experience with Sarah Boone and your experience with George Torres that they drank alcohol?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I'll withdraw to that question.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Are you aware that they both consumed alcohol to excess?
Yes.
Thank you. Hold on.
Yes, sir, of course.
Oh, Vincent, I think you had testified, you may have given a statement to law enforcement,
Yes, it was one of the detectives.
a recorded statement?
Yes, I can't remember his name, but yes.
Okay, and I think it was on February 23rd of 2020.
Yeah, right around that time, yeah.
I believe you had said that,
I'm going to object as to improper impeachment.
Approach. Objection's overruled for now.
sir, would it be fair to say on that date you got home around 7 p.m.?
7 p.m.?
Yes.
Which day was this?
Sunday, February 23rd, 2020.
No, that day I actually got home from work probably around 1 or 2 o'clock or so.
In the morning?
No, in the afternoon. Because I went to work that morning at around 5 a.m.
And you said that you heard the normal yelling and arguing at about that time when you got home?
No, it was around that time, but it was really around like 10 o'clock, 10:30 is when like the arguing I could right hear clearly. It was like around 10:30 at night.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any redirect?
Just very briefly.
Yes, sir.
So on cross-examination, you were asked about the arguing you heard, and I believe your testimony was that it was pretty intense around 10:30.
Yeah.
Approximately what time was it that you heard this loud crashing thump sound that you described?
Little after that.
Overruled.
It was a little after that arguing and stuff. It was probably around 11:15, probably 30, 45 minutes after like the arguing I could hear started.
No other questions?
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Not subject to recall.
We would like him subject to recall. You've got his number.
Okay.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes. All right, sir, you are released, not subject to recall. Have a great day. Thank you.
The state would call Brandon Moats.
Bless you.
Raise your right hand, please. Swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Thank you, sir. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir. Now,
Good afternoon.
can you tell us how it is that you knew Sarah Boone?
I moved into the apartment next door to her when I was in college.
And so, when was that you were in college?
I would have moved down here in 2019 and would have been there until around like 2021, 2022.
So she was your neighbor at Tealwood Apartments, is that correct?
Yeah, it would have been Tealwood back then, yeah.
And did you have any roommates back then?
Yes, I was rooming with Vincent Pataglia.
And during that time, what were you doing?
Like,
As far as work and school? And
I was just going to school. During the time of this, yeah, I would have just been going to school. I don't think I would have had my job yet. I was just a student.
did you have much interaction with the defendant or with Jorge Torres in this case?
Honestly, I avoided them as much as possible usually.
The apartment where you lived, tell us, how would you describe the walls that separated the units?
Yeah, I remember that my bedroom was like the front-facing bedroom, and our walls shared a wall with where their staircase was. So, like, the way the apartments were laid out, we had a one-story apartment, they had a two-story apartment. So they had a staircase running right next to the walls, next to, like, our bedrooms.
Would you ever have occasion to hear arguing and yelling going on inside of the defendant's apartment?
Yes, the walls were pretty thin, so if people were yelling, you could definitely hear it.
And how often would you hear arguments or disagreements going on over there?
When I first moved in, it was at least like once a week, to the point that I started tuning them out. Like I got good enough at just like not listening to them. They argued very, very often.
Do you recall the evening of February 23rd, 2020?
Yes, sir.
And on that evening, could you hear arguing going on in their unit?
Not late into the evening, earlier into the evening, probably like 7, 8 o'clock that evening, probably. Earlier on, I could hear arguing.
And where were you inside of your apartment?
I would have been in my bedroom pretty much all night.
And your bedroom, just so that we can paint the picture, where would that, would that have been on the first floor or the second floor?
We had a first floor apartment.
Okay, so all the units were, or all the bedrooms were on the first floor?
Yeah, like I was saying before, we had a 1-story apartment, and then they next door had like a 2-story townhouse, so we only had the 1 floor.
Understood. And at a certain point in the evening, did you hear a loud crashing sound?
Yeah, probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock that evening.
And can you describe that sound for us in more detail?
I mean, yeah, literally, like I said, at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, it's the way their staircase was set up. I could, my bedroom, the top of their staircase would have been like above my ceiling, and then it ends next to where like my roommate's apartment was. So I could hear something start above me super loud and then fall away from me, like it was falling down the stairs.
Did this affect the walls that were between your two apartments?
Oh yeah, me and my roommate. I remember me and my roommate talking the next day about like we could literally like it shook both of our rooms.
Did you ever have occasion to talk with the defendant about what happened?
I never saw her after that. She would have. Yeah, I never saw her after that happened.
No further questions.
Any cross-examination?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, you were asked by the state if you ever had any interactions with Sarah Boone or Jorge Torres. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And I think you said you tried to avoid them.
Yeah. I don't like drunk people, and they were drunk a lot, so I did not interact with them.
Okay. Do you remember this interaction with Sarah Boone in 2009 when you woke up and witnessed Sarah?
I would have been 9 years old in 2009.
I'm sorry, 2019. Good catch. In 2019, when you woke up and witnessed Sarah sleeping on the concrete patio.
Oh, this may have been a slight misconception in how I said this. I never woke up and saw her sitting on the patio myself. That I would have seen her on the patio eventually, but it's not like I woke up and went back and saw her on the patio. This was my roommate relaying the story that she had fallen asleep on the back patio, and then I saw her.
Okay. So you did not witness that yourself, or did you see her?
I saw her asleep on the back patio. I was just clearing up the sequence of events there.
Okay, thank you. Another time, do you recall our interaction with Miss Boone when you were coming home from school and she was trying to talk to you and she seemed paranoid and rambling?
Yeah, I had gotten locked out of my apartment, so I was waiting on the steps waiting on the steps outside of my apartment for my roommate to get home. So she came up and started talking to me. I don't really remember too many details of what she was saying, because I didn't want to talk to her. But yeah.
Okay. Do you remember saying that you believe Sarah was avoiding going into her apartment?
That's definitely the vibe. I don't remember what she was saying, but the vibe she was giving off was that she didn't want to go home.
I believe, and I just want to make sure that I heard you. You said that the first arguments, other than the boom, which was like 10-something, initially it was around 7 p.m. You heard arguing?
It would have, yeah, because it would have been. I remember that day I got home from class around 5, because I got out of class around 4:30 usually and walked home, so I would have gotten home around 5:30, and it would have been after because I came home, I made myself lunch, and I took a shower, and then I heard all of their arguing, so it would have been about an hour and a half, 2 hours after I got home, so around 7 to 8 o'clock.
Okay. And during that time, when you say arguing, was it back and forth?
Honestly, I wouldn't really be able to say if it was back and forth. I don't know I wouldn't remember too vividly if it was back and forth. Or if it was
Let me
just
ask you this, did you
yeah.
hear a male voice?
Yes, I heard a male voice.
Did you hear a female voice?
Yes.
Okay, were they both loud?
Yes.
Okay. If I can confer, Judge.
Yes, sir, of course.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Subject to recall, Judge.
All right, sir, you're released subject to recall. Thank you. Can the parties approach? By a show of hands, confirm that you complied with the court's instructions that we gave prior to the break. Record reflect all jurors' hands have been raised. With that, the state is going to continue with their evidence presentation this afternoon. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Brian Boone.
Mr. Boone, raise your right hand and be sworn, please. You swear or affirm the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. Sir, good afternoon. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us how it is that you know the defendant?
I dated her for quite a while, and then we eventually got married.
When you say you dated her for quite a while, how long are we talking?
I met her in the late 90s, and I believe it was around 2005 when we got married.
Did you have any children as a result of your marriage with the defendant?
Yes, we had one son.
And how old is that son?
He is currently getting ready to turn 14.
Did your marriage with the defendant last?
No, it did not.
And approximately when was it that you separated and began proceedings for divorce?
Probably 2017, I'm thinking maybe.
And at that time, when was your divorce actually finalized?
Oh, maybe it was 2006. I think the divorce was 2017, I believe.
And after your divorce, what was your custody arrangement with your son that you had in common with the defendant?
She was supposed to have him on Mondays and Tuesdays. I would have him Wednesday, Thursdays, and then we'd alternate Friday through Sundays every other week.
So 1 week you would have 5 days with your son, and another week she would have 5 days with him.
Correct.
And was this still the same custody arrangement in February of 2020?
Yes.
And in February of 2020, do you recall the events that occurred, I guess, first on the late evening of February 23rd, 2020?
On that evening?
Yes.
Well, apparently, Sarah called me at one point during the night.
Do you recall about what time she called you?
I think it was 11 something.
When you answered the phone, how did Sarah sound on the phone?
She sounded like she had been drinking, was pretty drunk.
Were you able to understand what the defendant was saying?
Somewhat, but she woke me up. I had work the next day. I was asleep when she called. She's done this before, calling me late at night, and generally I kind of just try to ignore it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Who was she living with at the time?
Jorge Torres?
When she called you late that evening, could you hear George in the background at all?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you pay much attention to this phone call?
No.
Now, the following morning, on February 24th, 2020, did you begin to call the defendant?
Yes, I did.
And approximately what time did you begin to call the defendant?
I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
And why was it that you were calling her?
Well, it was going to be Monday. I had him on Sunday and dropped him off at school, and I was calling to try and find out if she was going to be actually picking him up that day.
Why would you have a question about whether or not she was picking him up?
She wasn't generally very good about actually getting him on the day she was supposed to.
So it was not uncommon for you to have to remind her to pick him up or to make sure that she was going to pick him up?
Well, I mean, remind or just find out if she was going to, or if she was just going to give him over to me as what happened.
Do you remember at what time on February 24th you actually got in touch with the defendant?
I think it was like 12:30 or something.
And when you actually got in touch with her, what did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Did she say what happened to him?
I don't remember if she told me then on the phone or when I got there, but she told me they had been playing hide and seek and that she fell asleep.
What did you advise her to do?
I told her she needed to call 911 and that I would come over as soon as I could.
And this is on your first phone call here at approximately 12:30.
Yes.
On 2/24/20.
Yes.
Did she call you again while you were en route to her residence?
She did. She called to find out if I was still going to be coming over.
And when you spoke with her while you were en route, what, if anything, did you advise her?
I told her she needed to call 911 and told her I was on my way, but she needed to get somebody over there.
How long did it take you to arrive at her residence?
From the first phone call, or?
Yes, from the first phone.
Well, I mean, I live a minute or two drive away, but I had to get my puppy. We had just gotten a puppy recently. I had to get him in his crate and stuff like that and put something on because I was working from home. And total time, maybe 10 minutes.
When you arrived at her apartment, tell us what she told you when you arrived.
George was dead, and once again, I don't remember if she told me now or before that they had been playing hide and seek and she fell asleep, but I, at that time, told her again she needed to get 911 called to get somebody over there.
Had she called 911 at this point?
No, she had not.
So you've advised her now 3 times to call 911.
Yes.
Did you go inside of her apartment?
I walked in the front door into the little tiled area, like entranceway thing.
What, if anything, did you observe when you made it to that point?
Looking into the living room, I could see like the end of his feet and maybe a little bit of some legs that were kind of coming out around the backside of the kitchen area.
Did you continue to go into the apartment?
No.
Where did you go?
Sarah told me she was going to call 911 and go outside and have a cigarette and a drink and asked me to come out there with her. And I told her that I didn't really feel comfortable being inside. And I went out front and got in my car and waited for people to show up.
Did you witness the defendant call 911?
I think I was in there when she dialed it and first got somebody on the phone, but I wasn't there for the whole conversation. No, I was outside.
Did you stay there at the scene while police arrived?
Yes, I was there. I was part of it. I knew I'd have to talk to somebody, so.
Did you talk with law enforcement?
I did.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Judge, we want to reserve our questions for when we call in our case.
Okay. All right, sir, you're subject to recall.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just as long as he remains under subpoena.
My understanding is subject to recall.
So somebody will contact me about when I come back?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. State, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, may we approach a moment?
Yes.
It's 300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of the emergency? 4748 Brent Court, apartment 3. 4748, what's the street name? Brent, F-R-A-N-T-Z. And the appointment number? 3. Is it the police or medical? My boyfriend is dead. Okay, 7 line for the fire appointment, do not hang up. That's good. No, we don't leave. 4748 France Lane, apartment 3. France Court. France Court? Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay,
It's Jill with Park Apartment.
okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
my boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I said him in a case when we were playing, and like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep, and I woke up, and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3.
Number 3?
Yeah, it's like he had like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know, like he had like an aneurysm on what happened.
Right, okay, all right, okay, so we're getting out of the sheet. All right, okay. Okay,
Now?
okay, 40, yeah, man, so we're on our way up there. You're at 407-716-8684. Okay, you hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is he working there? 43-year-old man. All right. Okay, we're setting up on the sheriff's station out there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. All right, listen to me. Okay, that you need to confirm this. No, right, I need you to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay,
No, nothing happened. He's purple.
okay, listen, this is the definition of the bill. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
Is he available?
No.
All right, you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, listen, so is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff.
Right, okay. All right, listen to me. Listen, I want you to lay flat his back from me on the floor.
I did.
Removing the pillows, okay?
Yes, I did.
All right, okay.
Stiff and purple.
Right, okay, listen, okay, man, that's fine. We're still going to put two compressions to him, okay? All right? If you look your hand on his breastbone, right in center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your hands up on that hand.
Ready, I'm telling you. There's something I can tell.
Okay.
Please, okay, your girdle.
Okay, listen to me. All right, I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones. Put your other hand up on that hand.
Yes.
We want to pump his chest to be hard and fast. Going to do it twice per second.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is nice to me.
Okay, man, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please, hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop and say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing what I'm talking to you, okay?
Okay.
Still doing it.
All right, just keep pumping his chest. Count on, I'll take a count with you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Please hurry.
Okay, man, they're getting here as fast as they can, okay?
He's there and he's purple.
Okay, keep pumping his chest for me, ma'am.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Still doing the concept.
Right, okay, that's fine. You do the job. Just keep on doing it for me. All right, they're getting here as fast as they can along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Keep on pumping, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on pumping for me, man.
I'm doing it. Believe me, I'm doing it, okay? We're going to play hide and seek.
All right, I understand. All right, just keep on pumping for me, okay? Okay.
Please hurry.
Right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific. What's happening? Like, what happened?
Okay, man, keep on pumping the chest for me, okay? They're in the parking lot. They should go up there shortly, okay?
I'm still doing it, okay?
Right, okay, good. And you found him in a suitcase, you said?
Dad, we were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep. I'll be good.
Right, just keep on pumping the chest until they get over, okay?
I am.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Open. Come in. Can I stop something now?
Let that take over for you, okay?
Unfortunately, he's put down to all this time. Hello, ma'am?
So we're there, obviously.
No, not that.
Hey, ma'am, the back of the picture, you know, okay? That's all we'll see there.
All right. Oh, ma'am, still there? Hello? Contact 407-716-8684, reference woman, 1308. Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 4.
We're ready to continue with the presentation of witnesses.
Yes, sir. You may call your next witness.
State we call Abraham Moreno.
Mr. Moreno, raise your right hand and sworn to the swear or affirm the testimony which you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I affirm.
Sir, good afternoon. Mr. Castro, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, what do you do for a living?
I'm a maintenance supervisor for apartment complexes.
Is that what your position was back in February of 2020?
Yes, it was.
And what apartment complex?
Tealwood Park Apartments.
And how long did you work for Tealwood Park Apartments?
About 2 years.
And tell us, what were some of your duties in your position there with Tealwood Park?
Daily, I cleaned the grounds, walked the property, answered maintenance calls, did emergencies, dealt with vendors.
Did you become familiar with the residents there at the apartment complex?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to meet the defendant in this case and also a Jorge Torres?
Yes.
Let me turn your attention to February 24th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
And on that date, did you have occasion to come in contact with the defendant in this case?
Yes, I did.
And tell us, what was the circumstances in which you came into contact with her on February 24th, 2020?
I was called by the manager and the assistant manager to come to her unit. I believe she was already sitting outside at that time.
And when she was sitting outside of her unit, what, if anything, did you observe about her and about the unit?
The police was there, her ex-husband was present. She was sitting outside, and that's when she decided she wanted to talk to me and the managers.
And what did she tell you?
She's confused. She's not exactly sure what happened. She pointed out that she recalls that they were playing a game of hide and seek. There was an instance where she was going to teach him a lesson, and then she just doesn't recall anything else until the next morning.
Did she say she fell asleep?
Yes, she did.
Did she say things got out of hand?
I don't really recall that part, but I do recall her stating that they were playing their game and that George went into a suitcase, and I didn't ask any questions. I just let her talk for herself.
How long was this conversation?
For about 4 or 5 minutes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, sir.
You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This conversation that you had with Miss Boone,
Yes?
that took place on the 24th? Is that correct?
Yes.
And who else was present on the time that the conversation was taking place?
Standing right next to me would have been Melissa Sexton and Eugene Harris, as well as the officer who was in front of the door.
Okay. So there was a law enforcement officer there that day, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, on the 24th is when you said that Ms. Boone made this statement to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
They were playing hide and seek?
Yes.
And what else did she say happened?
She had told me that they were playing hide and seek, they had drank, she was trying to teach him a lesson, and that was that. She went upstairs, she went to sleep, she woke up, she doesn't know what happened.
Okay. So that was on the 24th?
Yes.
All right, on the 26th, were you not interviewed by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. So
I may have my days wrong, but it all happened on the same day.
All right, the 24th, do you remember 2 days later that a Detective Scott Lowen conducted an interview with you at 4704 Lucier Court, Winter Park, Florida? Do you remember that interview?
Yes.
So that was 2 days later, is that correct?
I would assume so.
Yes. All right, so when he interviewed you 2 days later, did you tell him about this statement that Ms. Boone made to you that you just told this jury in court?
I did mention it to him.
You did mention it to him?
I mentioned to them that we did have a conversation.
Did you tell him the content of the conversation?
I may not have told him the whole content, but I did tell him we had a conversation.
All right, well, what did you tell him, what content did you tell him on the 26th?
That they were playing hide and seek, that she was confused, she doesn't know what happened. I do believe I did mention to him the fact that she had said that she was trying to teach him a lesson. Not that anything was done with malice. I didn't state that at all.
Okay. So it's your recollection now today that on the 26th, you told Officer Lowen what you just told this jury. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Sir. In preparing for this case, did you have a meeting with the Assistant State Attorney on September 23rd of 2024?
Did I have a meeting?
Yes.
A brief chit chat over the phone.
A brief chit chat that was over the phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. At that point in time over the phone, did you tell him that Sarah Boone, the defendant, stated that she was teaching him a lesson and things got out of hand and that she fell asleep?
Yes.
Is that what you told him?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in 2024 of September the 23rd of this year, 2024?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you telling us that back on February the 26th of 2020, you told Officer Lowen at that time the same thing?
As I recall, yes.
So did she ever tell you how things got out of hand?
No.
Sir, you testified that you knew both Mr. Torres and Ms. Boone, is that correct?
Yes.
You actually knew Jorge Torres from a different time, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
When did you first know Jorge Torres?
In the 1990s.
In the 1990s?
He was a teenager and he lived down the street from me and my wife.
So you had had a previous relationship with Mr. Torres?
No, not at all.
Not at all? You just knew him from then?
Yes, as I stated, he was a teenager and I was an adult.
Okay. During this time, though, that you became reacquainted with him, did y'all establish a friendship at that time here in Orlando?
I wouldn't say a friendship, but an acquaintance, yes.
Okay. Sir, on Monday, February the 24th, that would have been the day that you were with Ms. Sexton and Gene Harris.
Yes.
Out in front of the apartment.
Correct.
Did you talk to law enforcement that day?
No.
You did not talk to them that day?
I don't recall talking to him that day, no.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any, if I can confer.
You can, sir.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect examination?
Just brief.
All right, thank you.
Back in the 90s, when you had previously known Jorge Torres, in this case, where were you living at that time?
I lived across the street. I lived on one block, he lived the next block over down in the middle.
In what city?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And when did you move from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
2018, I believe.
So in the intervening years, from your move from Philadelphia to coming to work at Tealwood Park, did you have any contact with Jorge Torres?
No, as a matter of fact, I moved from that particular block in 2005, so I don't meet Judge again until I work at Tealwood's.
When did you start working at Tealwood's?
2018, 2019, roughly there.
No further questions.
Can this witness be released?
No, Your Honor, just subject to recall.
All right, sir. You'll be released subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State, call your next witness.
State will call Deputy Kayla Rodriguez.
Raise your right hand, please. Sworn, you swear or affirm the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You can be seated. Judge Torres, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi,
Can you tell us did you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
And how long have you been a deputy sheriff?
A little over 8 years, since 2016.
And tell us, what are your duties as a deputy sheriff?
As a deputy, I respond to calls for service, anything from a over with call, like a car being keyed the day prior, or a 911 emergency.
And what type of training do you need to be a deputy sheriff?
So for me, I obtained my bachelor's degree from UCF in criminal justice in 2014. After that, in 2016, I was hired by the sheriff's office. Right after being hired, I went straight into the academy. The academy is 5 months of training. We go over everything from case law, scenarios, defensive tactics, physical training. After that, I do 2 more months with the sheriff's office where we go specifically into policy related to Orange County specifically. After that, I do 3 months on the road with a trainer where we are evaluated periodically through that process. You have a partner, you respond to calls for service during that time, and you slowly learn how to handle calls by yourself.
Do you also undergo continuing training as a condition of your employment?
Yes.
Tell us, were you working on February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And tell us, what area of the county were you working in?
Orange County, unincorporated Orange County.
And did you receive a call in regards to this case?
Yes.
And what was that call? What information did you have at the time you received the call?
So the dispatcher informed me that a woman called 911. She was actively performing CPR and that her boyfriend was in a suitcase.
And did you respond out to the scene?
Yes.
And when you responded out to the scene, were you dressed similarly as you are dressed today?
Yes.
And just for the record, you have, it looks like a standard green uniform on with a tool belt, your firearm, and also radio, body-worn camera, badge.
Yes.
Tell us about your body-worn camera.
So my body camera is used to capture scenes when we arrive. So as we are conducting any sort of law enforcement action, we turn our camera on.
When you turn your camera on, tell us, does it immediately capture sound at that point?
It does not. When we activate our camera, it goes back a minute, and the minute that it goes back to, you don't hear any audio for that first minute.
Tell us also about the capacity and the battery life of your camera as well.
So the battery will last us an entire shift typically if it's in a buffering mode. So if we're not recording, it will last the entire shift. As we record, it does drain the battery. So typically we will turn it off if we're sitting in our car for an extended period of time. If we call our supervisor, if we're talking to another deputy on the side, away from a scene, we will not have the camera recording. If it recorded throughout the entire shift, the battery would die. We would need multiple batteries.
So you actually activate the camera in order to begin recording?
Correct.
Was your body camera operational on this call out?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness, which has been previously marked for identification. It states H.I. and G that have been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm first showing you what's been marked for identification as states I. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body-worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24, 2020?
Correct.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of your body-worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states I into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
All right, what was pre-marked as I will be received into evidence without objection as states 4.
Ma'am, next I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states H. Can you take a look at that disc? Tell us, what is that disc?
Body-worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24, 2020?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of that portion of your body-worn camera from that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as states H into evidence.
No objection to any of those coming in.
All right, what was pre-marked as states H will be received without objection as states 5.
And lastly, ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states G. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body-worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24, 2020?
Yes.
And you had an opportunity to review this camera prior to coming to court?
Yes.
And that's your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And it fairly and accurately represents your conduct on the body-worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as states G into evidence.
No objection.
Thank you. What was pre-marked as states G will be received without objection as state 6.
In Your Honor, request permission to publish states 4.
You may.
Your Honor, may we dim the lights and use the overhead projector?
Yes.
You live here? Okay, I'll talk to you guys. That's my, the property manager. I don't know if that's tell him really quick, or so he knows what's going on? Where's he at? He wants that. Oh, don't worry about that. We'll take care of that for you, okay? I had to figure out the, okay, wait 1 second, okay? I really need something to drink. Okay, well, I got my dog stuck on the counter. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm on here. I put the time. That you called it? That time you called it? Okay, perfect. 20. 20, go ahead. 6:07. What's going on? What's going to you? What is yes, because of like 3.5 years. What happened? We drank last night. Can you pass this to the around the FBI stuff? They need to sign it, I'm sure. No. Each of them has to. This might be a real thing. So each of them has to sign their name. What's going on? I just got here filling in. No problem. Like, puzzle together. We can do some art right there at home. You have a puzzle together? Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there. Okay. We've been doing art, trying to take stuff off the wall to make new art kind of there. Like having a good time with one another. But we're thinking, we had a bottle of wine last night. So then it's like, we expect to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So he gets in the suitcase. Okay. Who's that? That's my assistant. My former assistant. How did you live with you guys? No. I called him over here. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So then he came over here. Here, let's talk inside. Okay. I called you guys. The problem is, I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning. When I found it. Before you called? Yes. 1 o'clock right now. I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever. So I came downstairs, and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. That's when I found him, and I took him out, and I tried doing CPR, and then I called him, and then I called you guys. Did he be here before the fire department got here? Who? Your husband? Or your ex-husband? Okay. Where'd you live at? Right on the street. Okay. So you were playing and who did some of it? I did, but then I fell asleep. Okay, stop. You're okay. I wasn't here, I'm just trying to figure out what happened. I fell asleep, so I don't know if he's some kid or like having an aneurysm or a heart attack or what. Medical condition. Yeah. Not that I know of. Not that you know of. Not that I know of. No. All we had was a bottle of wine. Literally, just a bottle of wine. Okay. Doing tons of artwork, and we decided to go ahead and see. That's all that happened. Okay. So I was never had a heart attack there, but I don't know what happened. So how long were you doing CPR on him prior to you calling 911? Tried that all morning? Yes. Okay. And then I told him while I was in the did you start helping? You know what fall apart? Here, let me throw this at the end, okay? Please, ma'am, I got the pepper. I am still cutting out right now. Ma'am, and you can't talk to him until we get down to the paper, okay? Just don't leave, okay, Brian? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll get Lucas.
I know. Do me a favor. Stand over there by that party. 1 second. There's a dog in there? Yeah. You want to clear the back bedroom real quick? Just make sure there's nobody else in here?
Did he let him know?
Nope, he was here with the girlfriend, and that's the girlfriend's ex-husband. He's gonna speak it. They were playing hard to go speak it, what she said. She's been doing CPR on him all morning before calling us. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making phone calls.
Okay, go ahead.
What do I do with this dog? Because I don't want him to mess with. Here, come here. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yes. Hey, come on, let's go outside. Come on.
Good boy.
She's like, rather than. But just want to make sure. Okay. Put my foot on. Touch anything.
Orange County.
Sheriff's office. Go ahead over here. Let me check this closet. Go to the garage.
I guess we're gonna have to set up a crime scene now. What's that? Sheriff,
Just give us a second, okay? Let's get it down, because I don't want you to pass it out. This is probably a lot for you to deal with, right? Water. I can get you some water, okay? Just, I want you down on your feet. I don't want you passing out. I need to refill water. Okay, I'll get some for you. You're trying to put you on it.
Your Honor, request permission to publish States 5.
You may proceed.
Let's go ahead and start making the call. Ma'am, could you go ahead and give me his last name, Torres? Spell it for me. Torres. And his first name? George, Jorge. Jorge. His birthday? 2/13/78. And this is a boyfriend? How long? 3.5 years. Living together that whole time? Okay. And your last name? Boone. Spell it. B-O-O-N-E. First name? Sarah. S-A-R-A-H. Birthday? 10/10/77. So, you had a second to contemplate yourself. Tell it to me again. You guys were playing last night, drinking a bottle of wine, putting us together, doing artwork. Puzzles, artwork. We had a bottle of wine, and then decided to play hide and seek. So, what time was that? Do you remember? I mean, I know that I was in bed probably by, like, what, 12:30? Okay. Well, I went upstairs at least, and I fell asleep, forgetting that he was in the suitcase.
Playing the hide and go.
Yes.
And at some point you put him in the suitcase?
No, he got in the suitcase. So he thought it was fine to be put in the suitcase. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to joke with you and I'll dig you up and make him, squirt a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
Where was the suitcase?
Right where it is.
Right down there?
Yes.
You zipped him in there?
Yes.
He's funny a little
It
bit?
was. We both were laughing about it. And then I fell asleep.
Where did you fall asleep at?
Upstairs.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally forgetting that he was in the suitcase still.
Okay. And then you came back downstairs?
This morning, or this afternoon, that's when I got up.
What time?
12:30-ish. I was awake, but I totally forgot that he was in the suitcase. He can tell you there's a lot of things that I/Rita can go, job.
Yeah, he did tell me.
Right, all that good stuff. So I just totally forgot.
You began to do CPR on him?
Yes. Yes.
About what time this morning did you start doing that CPR?
No, it was the afternoon. It was afternoon because I was awake. But then I finally decided to come downstairs at like 12:30-ish, whatever it is. And I was like, did I forget he was in the suitcase? And he wasn't moving. Nothing was happening. So I unzipped it, took him out and started doing CPR on him. He was on his way over here. I called you when he got here.
Once he got here, you called us?
Yes.
Okay.
And air was coming out and he was gurgling, but I could just tell by looking at him.
But you had to do CPR, you doing that on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the person that was on the phone with me also, I counted with him doing it.
And he's got no medical, he doesn't take any
I
medication?
don't know. I don't know medical-wise. I know he doesn't take any medications whatsoever. The only thing, like I said, I don't know if alcohol has to do with it, but we had a bottle of wine.
Okay, all right. Here, I want you to sit back down because I don't want
Can I have one more sip of water? Yes, go on.
Number 29 residential honorable 13, your guys may die.
I'll do what I can to get you a cup because I don't want you to have to keep doing that.
Team Motors next on the channel.
The cups are like right there.
Air 44 Motors.
Sit right here, don't talk to the ex-husband right
Oh, I
now.
won't. Can I have a cigarette, please?
Ma'am, I can't take anything out of the house.
It's on the back porch.
Nope, all day, secure, okay? I'll try my best to get you what you need, okay? Maybe one of these extra packs from someone, sit down and I'll try and get you what you need, okay?
Just a cup, please.
Okay. I don't want you on your feet. Yes, you could ask him. He came back in? So there's no thanks then? Cobra, I can give you a rundown? She's, sitting on the curb. What is she doing? I was getting ready to call you guys. Yeah. Wanna talk over here?
Your Honor, request permission to publish State 6.
You may do so.
Hey, Sarah. You get enough water? No, you want to stay seated. I don't want you getting lightheaded. So the rest of the detectives were going to come out and talk to you and go from there. You know what I'm saying? They're here. They're going to ask you a few questions and then go from there, okay? All right.
Hi, Sarah. My name is Chelsea. My partner, Scott. To my understanding, you reside here? Okay. Is it just you, okay. Your former husband, okay. But you reside here with George, and then your son lives with you, or lives, there's 50/50? Okay. So from what has told me, she explained last night that you guys were drinking a bottle of wine, and around midnight, you decided, you guys, okay. You guys decided to play hide and seek?
Well, we were playing hide and seek, and then...
Was your son home at the time, or, okay?
No, with my
ex.
Brian.
Okay.
decided to play, we just did it like that, like, we were putting puzzles together, we were doing artwork, you can see the puzzle that we finished in there, and then the artwork, and then decided to play hide and seek, the game stupid. Okay. So, he decided to get in the suitcase, so I thought it would be funny to, and he was laughing about it too, to zip him up in there. I go upstairs and fell asleep. So this morning when I was got noon, I actually got up out of the bed. I thought for sure he was downstairs with the laptop, really quiet. But then I came upstairs and I'm like, where is he? Like, and then that's what I felt.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
Okay. And then you weren't sure about if you woke up this morning?
It was afternoon. I mean, I was
or this afternoon,
but I just didn't want to come downstairs. So I just laid in bed for a little while, and then I eventually came upstairs. He knew where he was, and then I was like, oh my god, he's in the suitcase still. So I pulled him out, and I ripped him out, and I started to try to make CPR point. I told you guys, so I told Ryan. Okay. And then as soon as he got here, which is 30 seconds on the road, I told you guys. Okay. The person on the phone had me do the concussions continually, so I come with him until you guys showed up.
Okay. And so as part of our investigation, we obviously have to go inside the house. We have to look at things. Are you okay with us going in the house and looking at things? Yes. Okay. And forensics, so we have to have our forensics crime scene investigators come out. Are you also okay with them coming inside, taking photographs and? Okay. Okay.
Can I ask, is Ryan or George, was he diagnosed with any kind of medical history?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't take drugs. I mean, we'll have you see him on a wine here and there, but I don't know. Like,
well, that'll be my next question. So you guys don't normally drink? You just drink once in a while, or?
Well, I'm gonna say like, okay, I guess normal drinking is like we will have like a glass of wine or two, like while we're cooking dinner, or something here, and we'll say stuff working with him. We'll say it's in there. But it's not like.
A couple beers a day.
Hey, I don't understand though, like, for the little bit that we had, like, not my, like, I don't know if they had a heart attack or a stroke or anything, or what happened, I don't know.
Were you guys together all day yesterday? Okay. Here?
Yes.
Like, neither of you left the apartment yesterday?
We rode up to the before to get cigarettes.
Okay.
But I mean, you can walk there.
Does he have any history of smoking? No, he doesn't now. He said he doesn't.
I don't know.
As far as you've ever known him, you've never seen him?
No. I mean, he's from Philadelphia, and he grew up in Philadelphia, and then he went to Massachusetts, and then from Massachusetts he came down here. So I don't really know, like, a whole lot of, like, medical history.
How long have you guys been together?
Almost 4 years, like 3.5 years.
You guys been living here the whole time?
Yes.
You've never been to the doctor or to the hospital during that time?
He and his brother got into a really bad argument at one point. He had to have facial reconstruction. But he hasn't been in the hospital from that. And then I talked him into going to see like a regular physician so he could get just like a regular like checkup thing. Yeah. But there were no red flags.
How long was that?
The surgery or the doctor? The surgery I think was like 2 years maybe, 2.5 years. The checkup was probably in 2 years too.
Okay.
And the suitcase is still in there?
Yep, always.
Is it normally stored down there, or did you guys travel recently?
No, he was going to start picking from donation in there, so that's why
it's out?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys didn't recently travel somewhere or anything like that?
After you zipped them up, did you move the bag around fast enough, or you just zipped it up and walked away
I was laughing about it, but I went upstairs and I fell asleep.
But what position was he in when you went in? Was he sitting on his rear end and his head up and he just kind of goes over?
No, so like this is the suitcase. Like this is his head and then he's right here and his feet were out.
So he was laying on his side?
Yes. Yes.
You just closed the flap and zipped it around?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we were cleaning.
Understand this? Okay.
So he said that I needed to tell you guys about his family. Like, who do I talk to about?
We're gonna do that once we walk through and see. Yeah, we're gonna.
I'm just telling you, like, I'm afraid for my life. I want you to know that. I am afraid for my life. His family has never liked me. I'm the blue-eyed white devil, is what they call me. So they've never liked me. They've never taken me in. They've never accepted me. I'll put it that way.
Have you called any of them?
We talked to his daughter just today.
No, I mean, like, about this.
No.
Okay. So no one's gonna know until we will be making that notification. So
they're going to tell me.
Okay.
Do they live local?
Yes, they're down the road. They're going to tell me. His kids are going to tell me in Philadelphia. They're going to tell me. This was not intentional.
Okay.
They're not going to understand that. They're not going to accept it.
We're gonna do a thorough investigation. We will definitely make sure that you don't feel scared when we need to, okay?
And my 9-year-old.
Or he's at school, and he's with your husband.
I know, well,
Ex-husband.
Your husband said that, your ex-husband said he made arrangements for your landlord to pick up.
Oh, okay, Mom.
Okay?
All right, we're going to go inside.
Yes, please, but can you guys, so I know what's going on.
All you have to do is get their attention if you have a question, you need to talk to us. He's standing right there, she'll be right here.
Okay, but will you guys tell me, like, so you're telling me, like, you won't call whoever it is without telling me, right? I mean, I have a...
No, we're not calling, we're not making phone calls, we're actually gonna speak to them in person. We
That'll be
are.
later on.
Okay.
It'll be later.
Prior to us making any
I'm
calls.
not gonna be here. They're going to tell me.
We'll address all of that, okay, before we leave, okay?
This was...
Okay?
Thank you. Just stay seated, okay, sir? I know you're panicking, okay? Just relax. I'm gonna talk to you. We'll keep checking on you.
While you were at the scene, did you also make contact with Brian Boone?
Yes,
Did you take a statement from him as well?
I did.
Were all your interactions with the defendant on that day captured on your body-worn camera?
Yes.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No questions, Judge.
Is this witness released?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're released, not subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can the parties approach for a moment? Jury, it is 3:21 at this time. We're going to go ahead and take that afternoon regularly scheduled break.
Mr. Martinez, raise your right hand, please. Please, do you swear or affirm that you give shall the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I did.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
How long have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I'm going on my 16th year.
Prior to working for the Orange County Sheriff's Office, do you have any previous law enforcement experience?
I do.
And where was that?
I first started my career with the New York City Police Department.
And how long were you with the New York City Police Department?
About 10 years.
And what was your position with the New York City Police Department?
I was a police officer.
And at the Sheriff's Office, tell us, what are some of your duties as a deputy sheriff?
Respond to calls of service. Right now, my primary function is the school resource officer.
And is continuing training a condition of your employment with the Sheriff's Office?
It is.
Tell us, how is it that you became involved in this case?
I was dispatched to this location.
And what was this location?
It was located at 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3.
And is that here in Orange County, Florida?
It is.
And when you responded to that location, who did you first come into contact with?
I came in contact with Miss Sarah Boone.
Do you see Sarah Boone here in court today?
I do.
Could you please point to her and identify an article of clothing she's wearing?
The lady sitting in the middle with the black blazer.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant?
Record will still reflect.
During the time that you were on the scene, did you have a body-worn camera?
I did.
And was that body-worn camera activated?
It was.
Were all your contacts with Ms. Boone recorded on that body-worn camera?
It was.
Were other deputies also on the scene at that time?
Yes.
And was Deputy Rodriguez there?
She was.
So would both of your body-worn cameras both capture some of the same time frames?
Correct, yes.
Did you have an occasion to go inside of the apartment?
I did.
And inside of the apartment, what observations did you make?
When I first entered the apartment, I noticed a Hispanic male laying on his back in looks like a small nook dining area. Later identified Mr. Jorge Torres.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as states K and been shown to defense?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing you who's been marked for identification as states K. Do you recognize that disc?
I do.
Tell us, what is that disc?
Is a copy of my body-worn camera.
And does this body-worn camera fairly and accurately depict the a portion of the events that took place on February 24th, 2020?
It does.
And are those your initials on the disc?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states K into evidence.
Any objections? No objection. What was pre-marked as states K will be received into evidence without objection as state 7.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may. Madam Clerk, can you dim the lights?
They're coming out now. I'll get you somebody, okay? She wants to say something. She wants to go on.
Don't know anything though, like why or how? So that we will not know the answer to that because we're not. So what's gonna happen? We're gonna go to the office and they'll have what's called a knock. Yeah. That'll be first thing tomorrow morning. I'll know a lot, hopefully a lot more tomorrow morning as far as him. But I cannot, there's no way I could say how, why. So just by looking at him, like, why is he purple? Well, that's normal when one passes away, but then it ain't turn.
There's a hard stop bleeding and blood pressure and stuff. Those points in the body. And those skin tempered,
I'm like really scared. I want you guys to know that.
Well, you have all these steps for yourself. We're here, nothing's gonna happen. Before we go and make any notification, you'll have plenty of time to leave or do whatever you need to do, okay? And we can talk about that more in time, right? Okay,
But like, I don't, like, this was totally like not intentional. Like, that's what I'm scared about too. Like
We'll have all the answers. We'll have a lot more information tomorrow. Have a nice weekend. Like you said, what you're seeing here is common. This is us coming out. Yeah, it's age, no real medical history that we know of. We're going to pass away. We cannot.
I know. Yeah.
We cannot do an investigation. Especially in the office, we send people out. This is what we do. If he was 75 years old and had a heart condition, we wouldn't be here.
I don't know what it is.
Exactly, and that's what we're here to find out. We're just here to give you the answers. The answers that you want, the answers that family don't
I just
want.
really want to see my class. Like, I know this is my side. I mean, I know I can't go anywhere, but right. So do I just like sit out here and wait for you guys? Does anybody else have you to show up or wait here that needs to be here? My team's here, that needs to be here, the medical examiners will show up when we call them, but we're not ready for them yet. So they're gonna take him, they're gonna take the photos, take him, but that's towards the end of it, and they'll be called well in advance when we're ready for them, but we're not ready for them at this point, so we won't be calling them quite yet. Okay? So like I said, I gotta go do some paperwork, they're gonna chat, with some people, and then we're gonna come back and talk to you if you're okay with that. So just give us a little bit more time, like I said, and you don't do that. So, like, do you guys tell his family, like, today or after tomorrow? We have to. Once our investigation is pretty much complete here, once we leave here, we will be going to.
But again, you'll know. I'm not gonna just go into it, but you'll know.
But how, I mean, I understand what you guys and how you do it, and, you know, so, but like, what are you just telling us? What do you tell his parents? Like, what's the reason as to why?
We tell them what we know about them.
Yeah.
We tell them the truth.
And that we're gonna be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will get the autopsy in the morning, and hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they think and see.
Their number, they can contact them, get, you know.
So yeah, they're gonna know what we're here, what, you know, what we're investigating, and that we're still, they're gonna think I killed him. They always have said that. They always have said that. I told you, because I'm the blue-eyed white dragon, that's what they call me, because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses me over them. Even after I encouraged him numerous times to go there and see his family. He had to pull her off me sometimes. Do you have somewhere safe that you can go tonight? Both my parents are deceased, my grandparents are deceased, my aunt and uncle are deceased. I got nobody. I have a brother that's in the Marines, and I got another one that's in jail. Unless the brother that's Marine local? No. Well, he's in Altamont, but I think he's doing whatever Marine he's doing. But the only way... Your phone's inside, correct? Yeah. Does he have a phone? No. He doesn't. He used my phone. He used your phone. Yeah, the sheriff. So, the only place I could go is over to Brian's house. So, I don't think I'll have a problem with it. So, well, like I said, we're not going to leave here. If you do not feel safe, you're not going to leave here if you do not feel safe. And then we're like, and then, so I'm in Philadelphia. Well, she's in Philadelphia because there's going to be a funeral, right? That you're talking like days and no, I'm talking right here, right now. So let me get my notification. Let me go do this paperwork that I'm talking about because we can go back and forth about what it's like all day long. So I promise we're not going to leave here for you and you not feel safe. Please. I don't even know what to tell you. It's okay. Just take a seat, have some water, give us a few minutes, let us do everything, and we'll be back to talk to you, I promise, okay?
Like you said, you just let them know.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
You have anyone in there?
There's nobody here, just me.
Okay, that's fine. You're right there.
Yeah.
Sit there, take your mind. I have relief coming, so just give me.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No, sir.
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You're released, not subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you.
State may call your next witness.
State will call Melissa Roughgarden.
Please swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes.
What's your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Currently, I am a forensic biologist with the forensics unit. Prior to this, I was a crime scene investigator for 5 years.
And how long in total have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
About 6.5 years.
And tell us all the positions you've held during that time.
Those two, a crime scene investigator and a forensic biologist.
Let's turn to your work as a crime scene investigator. What does a crime scene investigator do?
We respond to crime scenes. We photograph and document those crime scenes through photographs, notes, and sometimes sketches. We collect evidence, we process the scene, and then we do further processing to the evidence back at our forensics lab.
When you say process evidence or process the scene, can you tell us what that entails?
Yes, it depends on the scene and the evidence, but it includes the photographs. We also take swabs for potential DNA. We can also do testing for possible blood and things like that. We also process for latent fingerprints, among other things.
What type of training did you need in order to become a crime scene investigator?
Upon being hired with the sheriff's office, as a CSI, I completed a 16-week training program, which includes in-house processing, as well as going out to crime scenes with trained crime scene investigators to observe and then assist, as well as taking on calls with the trained crime scene investigator.
Approximately how many crime scenes have you processed in the course of your career, in your course of your time as a CSI?
It would be hundreds. I don't know the exact amount.
Were you working in this capacity as a CSI on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, I was.
And tell us, where did you respond out to on that day?
I responded to 4748 Franz Court, apartment 3.
And is that in Orange County, Florida?
Yes, it is.
And when you responded to that scene, whom did you make contact with?
I made contact with the homicide detective, Chelsea Kepsel.
Did you receive information from the detective?
Yes, that it was a death investigation.
Did you walk the scene with the detective?
Yes.
And tell us, what does it mean to walk the scene with a detective in a homicide?
We go into the scene and just observe. We don't interact with anything and discuss what we see.
When you walked this scene, did you see Jorge Torres?
Yes, I did.
And where was he located?
He was located on the floor in the living room of the apartment.
Did you, with the detective, identify potential items of evidence to be collected?
Yes.
You had mentioned previously about documenting scenes with photographs. Was that done in this case?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been marked for identification as States M and been shown to defense?
Okay.
Ma'am, I'm showing you who's been marked for identification as States M. Can you take a look at the contents of State M to yourself and tell me if you recognize the items contained within States M?
Yes.
You recognize the contents of States M.
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is the contents of State M?
They are photographs I took on the crime scene.
Do they fairly and accurately represent how that crime scene appeared on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification, the state's M, into evidence.
How many photographs are there? Do you have a total?
111.
No objection.
All right. What was pre-marked as States M will be received into evidence without objection as States 8.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may.
Your Honor, can we have the lights dim?
Yes.
And I'm first going to publish to you, as part of States M, picture photo number 4. Tell us, what is this?
This is the front door to the residence.
States 5.
This is also the front door of the residence, just a closer image to the door.
When you enter the residence, what is the first area just off to the right of the front door?
That would be the kitchen.
Showing you it's been marked as States 11.
Yes, so this is just inside the door. To the right, there is the kitchen area.
Showing you States 14.
Yes.
What is this a photo of?
So this is the counter with the sink in the kitchen, and there's also the open area just above where you can see into the living room.
Showing you from States Composite, photo 19.
Yes.
What is this?
This is a hutch inside the kitchen. You can see in the background, that is where that first photo of the kitchen was taken. So that's the entryway. And then this is the hutch, and there is a cell phone on the hutch in the kitchen.
Showing you States 22.
This is the trash can in the kitchen. You can also see the hutch we were just looking at there on the side.
States 23.
This is the contents of the trash can. You can see 2 wine bottles on the top of the trash.
Did you also find receipts in that trash can as well?
Yes.
Photo 25 from the composite.
These are those same wine bottles and 3 Publix receipts that were removed from the trash can.
Did you take these items and collect them into evidence in this case?
Yes, I did.
Photo 32 from the composite.
Yes, this is just in further into that entryway. You can see the living room.
Photo 35 from the composite.
This is another photo of the living room. You can see the victim located on the floor and a suitcase in the bottom corner of the photograph.
Photo 36.
This is another photograph in the living room. This is that wall we saw in the kitchen there with the opening. You can also see a wooden baseball bat leaning against the wall.
Is that baseball bat collected into evidence in this case?
Yes, it was.
Photo 38.
This is, excuse me, this is also a photograph of the living room, just the other side of the room.
Photo 43 from the composite.
Yes. This photograph was taken in the living room. You can see the stairs leading to the second floor.
Photograph 45.
This is a photograph of the living room just from the other side of the room. You can see the front door in the middle back of the photo.
Photo 49 from the composite.
This is a more close-up photograph of the suitcase.
Photo 50.
This is a photograph of one of the zippers on the suitcase.
Photograph 51.
This is a close-up picture of that same zipper. There is no zipper pull on it. It appeared to be a small wire of some sort, the pink wrapped around the zipper. This is the zipper on the other side of the suitcase.
Just for the record, that's photograph 52. States 53 from this composite.
The close-up image of that same zipper. There was also no zipper pull on that one.
Photo 54 from the composite.
This is the contents of the suitcase after just lifting the lid.
Photo 56 from the composite.
More of a close-up image of the items. There were miscellaneous papers and paperwork, some clothing items, and apparent blood inside the suitcase.
What items, what apparent blood was inside the suitcase?
It was observed on the white cap and a necktie, and there was also visible blood just on the interior of the suitcase.
Photo 57 from the composite.
The contents of the suitcase, but you can see the white cap more clearly and the blood observed on it.
'58 from the composite.
You can see the necktie with blood. It appeared to be silver multicolored. And then there's also a diazepam syringe in the plastic casing there. It was prescribed to the victim.
Photo 61 from the composite.
That is the miscellaneous papers and paperwork that was removed from the suitcase.
Photo 62 from the composite.
That's the suitcase after all of the items were removed.
Photo 64 from the composite.
Yes, that is what appeared to be some like small pieces of paper that appeared to be soaked with blood.
Is this inside of the suitcase?
Yes.
Photo 65 from the composite.
That is the baseball.
Photo 68 from the composite.
This is back to the stairs to the second floor in the living room.
Photo 69 from the composites.
So it's moving closer to the stairs to the second floor.
Photo 70 from the composite.
Photographing more of the staircase. These are the steps leading to the second floor before I proceed up to the second floor.
This is photo 71 for the record. Photo 72 from the composite.
The upper portion of the stairs leading to the second floor.
How many bedrooms were on the second floor of the unit?
There were 2 bedrooms.
Photo 75 from the composite. What is this?
This is the hallway. You can see a closet in the hallway and then the door to one of the bedrooms.
Does this appear to be a child's room?
Yes, it did.
Photo 79 from the composite.
This is a photograph within the child's bedroom.
Photo 86 from the composite.
This is the door leading to the other bedroom upstairs.
Did this other bedroom also contain a bathroom?
Yes, it did.
Photo 90 from the composite.
This is the bed within that bedroom.
Photo 97 from the composite.
This is the bathroom.
In that master bedroom upstairs.
Yes.
Did you also have an occasion to photograph the defendant?
Yes, I did.
You see the defendant here in court today.
Yes, I do.
Could you please point to them and identify an article of clothing they're wearing?
She is right there with a black blazer and a pink shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant?
Record so reflect.
Showing you photo 98 from the composite.
This is the photograph I took of the defendant.
Why is it that you are photographing the defendant at this point?
I collected her buccal swabs, which is a DNA standard from the inside of the mouth, and it is part of our procedure to photograph that person for identification purposes.
Do you also document the rest of her body as well at that time?
Yes, I did.
Publishing photograph 101 from State's Composite.
This is a photograph of her hands facing upward.
Photograph 102.
This is her right hand facing upward.
Photograph 103.
Her left hand facing upward.
Photograph 104.
Both of her hands facing downward, so the tops of her hands.
Photograph 105.
This is her right hand facing downward.
Photograph 106.
And her left hand facing downward.
Photograph 107.
This would be of her right arm.
Photograph 108.
Her left arm.
Photograph 109.
Her right arm with it facing upward.
Photograph 110.
Her left arm with her arm facing upward.
During the time you were interacting with the defendant, did she ever indicate to you that she had any injuries?
No.
You had previously testified that you also collected physical items of evidence from the home as well, in this case.
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness what's been marked for identification as State C and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm assuming it was been marked for identification as State C. Can you take a look at that package for me?
Yes.
Do you recognize that package?
Yes, I do.
And tell us, what is that package?
These are the 2 wine bottles that were collected from the trash can.
Is your name on that package?
Yes, my name is on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, and my initials are on the evidence seal from when I sealed the package.
And it also has your agency case number and the location information for this case.
Yes, that is correct.
Ma'am, could you open the contents of States C and look at it to yourself?
Yes. Have to pull them out to recognize the item. They're wrapped in paper.
Sure, just out of view from the corner. What is the contents of State C?
These are the 2 wine bottles that I collected from the trash can.
Are these wine bottles in the same or substantially the same condition as they were at the time that you packaged them on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, the same time I collected them that day.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States C into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as State C will be received into evidence as States 9 without objection.
And Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may do so.
You can unwrap it now. You can put it back. Did you also have occasion to collect the baseball bat from the living room?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who has been previously marked for identification as States B and shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you who's been marked for identification as States B. Can you take a look at this item?
Yes.
Do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do. This is the wooden baseball bat I collected from the living room.
Does this item have your name on it?
Yes, it has my name on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, as well as my initials on the evidence seal.
It also has your initials and your agency case number as well.
Yes, it does.
Ma'am, could you open States B and look at the contents of it to yourself without displaying it to the court?
Yes.
What is contained within States B?
The wooden baseball bat.
And is that bat in the same or substantially the same condition as it was at the time that you collected it on February 24, 2020?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States B into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as B will be received into evidence as States 10 without objection.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may. Any objection?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as B will be received into evidence as States 10 without objection.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may.
You also had an occasion to collect the suitcase as well in this case.
Yes, I did.
Prior to placing the suitcase into evidence, did you process it?
I took measurements of the suitcase.
What are the measurements of the suitcase?
It was 28 inches in length, 20 inches wide, and 8 7/8 inches deep.
Your Honor, at this time, may the witness step down from the stand and approach the clerk's area.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as States A. Tell me, do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is this item?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
And how is it that you know that this is the suitcase you collected from the living room?
It has the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I labeled with the item description. It also contains my name and agent's case number, and my initials are also on the evidence sheet.
Ma'am, at this time, could you open States A and look at the contents of it to yourself?
Yes.
What is inside of States A?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
And does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as the time that you collected it and placed it into evidence?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as States A into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as A will be received into evidence without objection as States 11.
And Your Honor, at this time, I ask for permission to publish States A to the jury.
You may.
Can you open the inside of it? How easy is it to operate the zipper that closes the suitcase?
It was a little difficult.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you also referred to as a medical examiner investigator as opposed to just crime scene investigator?
No, that is not my title.
Do you do reports that the crime or that the medical examiner necessarily relies upon in the process of doing the autopsy and additional investigations?
You would have to ask them.
Who makes the decision at the scene as to what items
will be photographed and what items will be taken into custody, what items will necessarily be tested or analyzed?
That's a collaborative effort between the crime scene investigator and the lead detective while on scene.
That would be yourself, and who was the lead detective?
The lead detective was Chelsea Kepsel.
Now, you authored a report in this matter, did you not?
Yes.
And that report was utilized, if you in fact know, by the medical examiner in developing her autopsy report, was it not?
I do not know.
In your report, did you advise the medical, or whomever might read your report, that in fact the body had been removed from the suitcase by first offenders or first responders?
No, I don't believe so.
And we know that you have capacity to do DNA analysis, correct?
No, we process DNA or collect swabs for DNA, and then that's submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for conventional DNA analysis.
You did that with a sample from the inside of Sarah Boone's mouth.
Her buccal swabs were submitted to the FDLE.
And who made that decision?
The detective and I.
Who made the decision not to bother to do a DNA analysis on the blood from the items within the suitcase or the suitcase itself?
That was a discussion between the detective and I.
And you chose not to do that?
No, we did not.
You assumed that the blood inside the suitcase belonged to Jorge Torres, correct?
There was blood observed in the suitcase.
But you don't know who that belonged to because you didn't bother to analyze it or have it analyzed, correct?
The blood was not tested.
Now, State's Exhibit B, the bat, you took that into evidence. Was that again a collaborative decision by yourself and the lead detective?
Yes.
And what efforts did you make to have the bat analyzed, given the fact that it was apparently evidence?
It was just collected as evidence from the scene.
Did you advise either the lead detective or anybody else involved with this investigation that there may be matters that could be analyzed when analyzing the bat that would help or assist in the investigation of this matter?
It's my job to do the documentation and the collection of evidence.
You said it was a collaborative effort between yourself and the lead detective, so did you participate in that decision?
We chose to collect the bat and put it into evidence.
And so there was a fiber analysis done on the bat to determine whether or not it was used to strike Jorge Torres when he was in the suitcase, was there not?
Pardon?
In fact, there was not, was there? There was no effort to analyze the bat.
I'm going to object. I don't believe the witness had an opportunity to answer the question.
Sustained.
I'm sorry. Please.
Can you repeat the question?
If I can remember it, I will. Do you know that there was any effort made in this particular investigation, the investigation of Sarah Boone, to analyze the bat for fibers?
No, there was not.
And why was that not done?
It was not done.
You indicated that you had some interaction with Ms. Boone, is that correct?
I collected her buccal swabs.
Did you speak with her?
In collecting her buckle swabs, yes.
Did you speak to any other witnesses?
No.
Did you make any determination of other matters that might be of import or evidentiary value when you were going through the house and taking photographs and documenting the interior of the townhouse?
You'll have to be more specific.
Well, how many pictures of the child's bedroom did we see?
Here today,
Yes, ma'am.
we saw the entrance to the bedroom as well as a photograph of the interior of the bedroom.
What was the evidentiary value of that?
It's my job to photograph and document while on scene, so the rooms in the upstairs were photographed and documented.
Did you photograph holes in the wall, possibly made by the victim?
I don't recall photographing holes in the wall, no.
Did you take photographs of items within the house or throughout the house that may have depicted incidents of prior violence?
You'll have to be more specific.
How about bloody pillowcases? Did you make any effort to collect and analyze pillowcases of the rooms that you were photographing?
No.
You have significant experience with zippers?
I use zippers regularly, yes.
Enough to have an opinion as to whether or not a zipper is stuck or not.
Is what? Sorry?
You testified on direct that the zipper was a little tight.
Just that it was difficult without the zipper pulls to use the zipper.
And that was your opinion.
Yes, from opening the suitcase here today.
Today. You only tested it today?
Pardon?
You only today have for the first time tested the ability to pull open the zipper on the suitcase?
No, I'm saying it was difficult today.
Nothing further on.
Any redirect examination?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, you documented the entirety of the house as you saw it.
Yes.
So every room in the house,
They were all taken overall photographs.
walls in the house?
In the overall photographs, yes. They weren't all individually photographed, no.
And you did not document or note any type of holes in the wall or any type of damage to the walls, anything like that?
Not the walls, no.
Is that something that would have been documented both photographically and also within your report?
Yes.
You also, as we've previously seen in the composite, saw the victim where he was laying in this case, correct?
Yes.
Was the victim, did he have blood on his mouth and on his face?
Yes, he did.
Did he have open wounds on his body?
There was blood coming from his nose and his mouth. There was also some other areas of, like, defects noted on his body.
You also made contact with the defendant too, as well.
Yes.
Did you note any other wounds or cuts or anything else that was not documented that you haven't testified to?
No.
So no wounds, nothing on her?
Not that I recall, no.
No further questions?
Thank you. Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Owens, can this witness be released?
Judge, we'd like her to be on call.
Subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you. Can the parties approach?